So how do we let go of the idea of happiness only coming with career slash success and a perfect relationship, etc.? Yeah, so this was actually the first layer of awakening that I went through very early on. So there are layers of awakening that we can consider. So on the broader scope, it's not so much a personal awakening as it is an awakening out of the cultural conditioning of the world. And so the most overarching layer is this layer of, if you follow what the culture says, you'll be rewarded. And we can have an experience where we kind of open our eyes in a sense and say, that's not true. Getting the job that other people are telling me to get is actually not going to make me happy. And it can be a very frightening realization to have as we look around and we say, whoa, hold on. I was lied to. I've been scammed. And it happened to me very early on. And this was one of the first significant awakenings I had. I essentially looked around and I thought, all of these unhappy people are telling me how to be happy. Something's not adding up here. And so we can look around and just observe people that have very successful careers. Not all, but some. Maybe they've got some addictions. Maybe you know something about their personal lives. They're unhappy in their relationships, or maybe they don't have great health, or maybe their political situation in the country that they're in is not going well for them. So we look around and we get this bit of a you know, reality check that just getting these things that everyone else tells us will make us happy. It won't, because there's so many factors, as well as a perfect relationship. If we look around, there is no such thing as a perfect relationship in terms of a relationship that doesn't have any friction, doesn't have any context for growth, right? Any challenges. There's no such thing, right? So that's the first layer of awakening. It's coming out of that illusion. Um, and so there are other layers as well. Then there's a layer of the family conditioning. We see that our family, our ancestry has conditioned us in a certain way. And we open up our eyes and see that can be pretty profound. Maybe some of us, it's realizing that, our parents actually aren't perfect. That could be a pretty startling realization. Um, as we go through the layers, eventually we come down to our own self and eventually realize the thoughts in my own mind aren't necessarily true. This idea of me having my own mind, my own ego, it's not necessarily the full picture. So that can be an awakening out of the individual sense of ego, for example. But let's go back to talking about this idea of happiness only coming with a career or a perfect relationship, etc. Um, so yeah, it's a daunting, scary realization. None of this is going to make me happy. Fortunately, we can actually find, I think, something better than happiness, which is peace. So peace, in my view, is a steady underlying current of relaxation in the body that is a little different from an emotion. I know some would consider to feel peaceful as an emotion, but I think of it a little differently. It's the foundational baseline upon which emotions come and go. So happiness, it's fleeting. It comes and it goes. When it comes and it goes, then we suffer. Whereas peace can be there underlying. And so this is where teachings of living in the present moment, being here now, come about, because this is where peace is. So we can find peace and then go after our career, go after a relationship, not under the illusion that this is going to make me happy forever. We don't chase those things knowing that it's going to make me happy because we realize it doesn't. So we find peace in the moment and then we enjoy the ride. We enjoy our career. We enjoy our relationships, but we don't expect those things to make us happy. We find peace within. So that's where these ideas of living in the moment come from, being here now. But of course, we don't want to spiritually bypass and say, okay, I'll just be here now and forget about a career. I'll just, live under a tree or something, or forget about a relationship. I'll convince myself that I don't need one. No, we find peace in the moment, and then that's when I can actually have a really impactful career, really impactful relationships, right? So those are some ideas, and it's very important stuff for everyone to consider. There's a great book by Mary Schuton. It's called The Spiritual Awakening Guide, and she talks about the conditioned layers of reality, and it's the layers like we're talking about here. And the book is about Kundalini as well. So of course, many people think Kundalini is about this energy moving to the spine and whatnot, and it is, of course. But there is also the awakening out of the cultural matrix. That's a very important stage as well, which doesn't necessarily have all this flashy, energetic stuff. It's just, you know, the dawning of the realization that the culture isn't necessarily true